The bridge of the Bastion Leviathan hummed with tension, its holographic displays casting an eerie cerulean haze over Commander Sarah Yang's face. The Xelari cruisers loomed on the forward viewport, 3 crystalline leviathans, each a shimmering monolith of violet and silver, their jagged hulls refracting starlight into fractured rainbows. Yang's fingers tightened around the armrests of her command chair. For a century, humanity had built this moment, a facade of mediocrity masking a technological renaissance. Now the Xelaris, lords of the Hyperion cluster, had come to claim their protectorate. "Report," she said, her voice crisp. Lieutenant Sebastian's neural interface glowed as he scanned sensor data. "Xelaris maintaining weapons hot. We have confirmed the existence of Shield Class 9, harmonic resonance at 43.9 terahertz. They're not hiding their specs. They want us intimidated." "They're about to be disappointed," Yang muttered. She glanced at the Leviathan's mock engineering panels, deliberately clunky, retrofitted with primitive alloys. The ship's true heart lay hidden beneath, quantum reactors capable of bending space-time and phase cloaks rendering it invisible to conventional sensors. A masterclass in deception. "They are hailing us," Communications Officer Helena announced, her eyes flicking to Yang. "Standard Xelari protocol." On screen, the hologram formed, a towering figure with ivory skin and 6 arms, bioluminescent glyphs crawling across its torso like living circuitry. Drazix Krell, the Supreme Commander, spoke with crystalline disdain. "Greetings, Earth vessel. Your species' efforts at interstellar travel amuse us. The Dominion grants you protectorate status. Surrender your colonies for guidance." Yang's lips curled into a subtle smile. "Hi, Commander. We're honored, but our assembly must—" "Enough!" Drazix Krell's glyphs flared crimson. "Your assembly will comply, or be erased." The transmission ceased abruptly. Yang waited 3 heartbeats. Then she activated the quantum entanglement communicator, its signal routed through a labyrinth of dummy circuits to mask its origin. "Control, this is Leviathan. Phase 1 initiated. Xelaris have delivered the ultimatum." The reply was instantaneous, a violation of physics only possible through quantum entanglement. "Starbound confirms. Ghost Fleet is go." Yang turned to her crew, their faces now devoid of the nervous awe they had practiced for decades. "Signal the colonies. Time to end the charade." Admiral Apollo Kane stood on the Starbound's bridge, its obsidian hull drinking in starlight. Behind him, the quantum display pulsed with hundreds of blips, ghost fleet vessels, their phase cloaks holding them in a liminal state between dimensions. Humanity's greatest secret. "Fleet status?" Kane asked. Captain Olivia Lopez's voice echoed through the quantum network. "All ships green. Xelaris are still blind to our presence." The Xelaris' arrogance was their weakness. For a century, their spies had catalogued human advancements, crude fusion drives, rudimentary AI, and colonies clinging to life on barren rocks. They'd missed the truth. Quantum reactors miniaturized to fit in fighter bays, AI mines with processing speeds surpassing Xelari neural networks, and colonies seated with phase stabilizers capable of teleporting entire armies. "Sir, Xelari flagship powering Vortex Blaster," Lieutenant Wilson warned. "Targeting Leviathan." Kane's grin was frost. "Let them shoot." Across the void, the Leviathan's holographic projection flickered, a decoy shimmering into existence. The Xelari cruisers fired in unison, a beam of hyper-concentrated light slicing through the projection. The Xelaris cheered. Their sensors confirmed a kill. "Holograms functioning," Wilson confirmed. "Real Leviathan remains undetected. Begin Phase 2. The order rippled through the quantum network. 100 stealth frigates, their hulls etched with phase cloak glyphs, shifted into real space around the Xelari cruisers. The Xelari sensors, tuned to crystalline harmonics, remained oblivious. "Xelari flagship hailing," Wilson announced. On screen, Drazix Krell's glyphs pulsed erratically. "Where is your real vessel, Kane?" Kane stepped forward, his uniform gleaming with subdermal nanocircuitry. "This is Admiral Kane of the Terran Ghost Fleet. That primitive ship? A phantom. Like the centuries spent underestimating us." The Xelari's bioluminescence stuttered. "Impossible. Your species spent 150 years hiding, learning." Kane nodded to Lopez. The Starbound's quantum drives activated, the ship vanishing in a ripple of non-Euclidean geometry and reappearing behind the cruisers. "Your Dominion enslaves species by appearing unannounced, weapons primed. How does it feel to be the prey?" Drazix Krell's glyphs flared scarlet. "You dare. We make the rules now." Kane gestured to the quantum display. More Xelari reinforcements warped in via vortex engine, their FTL reliant on hyperdimensional gateways humanity had mapped and weaponized. "Your shields rely on harmonic resonance. Quantum beams bypass that. They exist everywhere at once." A silent nod. The Starbound's phase cannons fired, beams of blue energy threading through dimensions, striking the nearest cruiser's core without breaching its hull. The cruiser's weapons sputtered offline. "Warning shot," Kane said. "Your Dominion's days of conquest end here. Sovereignty or annihilation. You have 1 hour to contact your Emperor." The hours stretched like taffy. On the Leviathan, Yang watched the quantum display as Xelari ships swarmed, their panicked vectors betraying their loss of control. The Ghost Fleet's phase cloaks held. Xelari sensors, blinded by crystalline physics, saw nothing but void. "They'll call for reinforcements," Sebastian said. "They'll get none," Yang replied. "Quantum dampeners are scrambling their FTL lanes. Any ship entering this sector will materialize inside our phase grid." When Drazix Krell reappeared on screen, his glyphs glowed faintly, a shadow of his former hubris. "Humanity may dictate terms." Kane leaned forward. "Simple. Recognition of human sovereignty, withdrawal of forces, and reparations for subjugated species. You expect us to—" Kane magnified the quantum display, revealing hundreds more Ghost Fleet vessels materializing from hidden bases. "Your Dominion is a myth sustained by complacency. We can erase it." The Xelari's glyphs dimmed to ash gray. "Terms accepted." The surrender spread like wildfire. Across the crimson expanse, Xelari outposts received Kane's ultimatum: stand down or vanish. Species long oppressed by the Dominion's crystalline yoke rose in revolt, emboldened by humanity's Gambit. The Xelaris, masters of the balance of power, had been checkmated by a species they dismissed as prey. On the Starbound, Lopez studied the Xelari fleet's retreat. "They'll rebuild, come back stronger." Kane watched the stars, his reflection a ghost in the viewport. "Let them try. By then we'll have moved beyond quantum, into whatever comes next." Yang's voice crackled through the comms. "Leviathan to Starbound. Ghost Fleet to home coordinates." Kane smiled. "Take us to the next sector. The galaxy has a lot to learn about its new apex species." As the Starbound and its fleet dissolved into the quantum rift, the Xelari cruisers drifted alone, monuments to a fallen era. The crimson expanse whispered a new name: humanity. And the stars themselves trembled. The resonance, Gambit. The Hyperion Quantum Rift shimmered like a fractured star, its ancient runes pulsing in rhythm with the quantum resonance device. Around it, the Xelari fleet drifted, hundreds of crystalline warships, their once blazing glyphs now reduced to faint, flickering embers. Captain Olivia Lopez allowed herself a breath as the Zenith's sensors confirmed the impossible. Humanity's most audacious gambit had succeeded. "Report," she ordered, her voice steady despite the seismic shift in galactic power dynamics. Lieutenant Evelyn Lee's console flared with cascading data streams. "Xelari fleet status, 77% non-operational. Their vortex engines are locked in a quantum stasis field. No signs of resistance, only panic. Michael Garcia, the Zenith's exo commander, snorted. They thought they could outmaneuver us with brute force. Pride really is their weakness. Olivia's gaze lingered on the tactical display. The Quantum Rift's energy field, once a neutral highway for FTL travel, now thrummed with humanity's signature. A resonance pattern that inverted the Xelari's reliance on crystalline harmonics. It was a masterstroke of asymmetric warfare. The same technology that powered the Xelari Dominion had become their shackle. "Admiral Kane on the line," communications announced. Olivia straightened. On screen, the hologram of the Starbound's bridge flickered into view, Kane's face a mask of grim satisfaction. "Captain Lopez, excellent work. The resonance field's holding." "Firmly," Olivia confirmed. "We've turned their entire fleet into driftwood. The Quantum Rift's energy is amplifying our quantum matrix. This isn't just disabling their ships, it's rewriting their tech's core principles." Kane nodded. "Good. The more they study it, the more they'll realize they can't reverse engineer their way out of this. Patch me into the Xelari command channel." Olivia gestured to communications. Moments later, Supreme Commander Drazix Krell's hologram appeared, their ivory skin now pallid, bioluminescent glyphs dimmed to a sickly violet. "Human. Kane," they spat, the translator struggling to parse their rage. "What have you done to our fleet?" Kane's voice was glacial. "We've demonstrated the difference between innovation and stagnation. Your Dominion spent millennia refining vortex engine technology, assuming its dominance. We spent a century studying the quantum rifts. Their true function, not just their utility." He leaned forward, his holographic form cutting an imposing figure. "You treated these gates as tools. We treated them as puzzles. That's why we own them now." Drazix Krell's upper arms twitched in a gesture of defiance. "This resonance field, it's temporary. We will adapt." Kane's smile was razor thin. "By the time you understand the quantum mechanics at play, we'll have rewritten the rules again. Surrender now, or watch your entire armada die in the void." The surrender was swift, but the fallout was seismic. Across the Hyperion cluster, the Xelari's subjugated species erupted in rebellion. The Resonance Gambit, as the Battle of the Quantum Rifts would come to be known, had shattered the myth of Xelari invincibility. Former protectorates seized Xelari outposts, mining colonies and research stations, their uprisings emboldened by covert human support. The galaxy's balance of power, once rigidly enforced by the Dominion's technological superiority, fractured overnight. On Earth, the Terran Assembly convened an emergency session. Declassified footage of the battle played on loop. Xelari cruisers disabled by redirected energy beams. Their crews scrambling as systems failed. The haunting image of the Quantum Rift glowing with alien runes, now under human control. Public sentiment shifted from cautious optimism to unbridled triumph. Humanity wasn't just a rising power, it was the new apex predator. But Olivia Lopez saw the cracks beneath the surface. "Admiral, we have a problem," she said, standing in the Starbound's war room hours after the victory. The quantum display mapped the galaxy's key systems, now speckled with red markers, Xelari loyalist holdouts, rogue fleets, and opportunistic warlords exploiting the chaos. Kane studied the board. "Define problem. We've destabilized the entire sector. The Xelari's collapse is creating power vacuums, and the vacuum of space hates emptiness. The Vorlak Cabal is already making movements close to the Crimson Expanse. The Xenon clans are mobilizing near the galactic core. Even the Kraith Axis, our allies, are positioning themselves to claim Xelari tech." Kane's jaw tightened. The Kraith Axis, of course. The Kraith, a coalition of older species that had tolerated humanity's rise, had long viewed the Xelaris as rivals. Now they saw an opening to dominate the Hyperion cluster themselves. Olivia crossed her arms. "Our people are celebrating a decisive victory, but this isn't over. The quantum rifts are now a weapon, and everyone wants control." Kane exhaled slowly. "Agreed. We need to shift from warfare to diplomacy, fast. The Xelari's surrender terms were as calculated as they were ruthless. At the Hyperion Gate, an assembly of defeated Xelari commanders faced Kane and Lopez, their crystalline armor dulled, their glyphs reduced to faint pulses. Olivia noted the subtle shifts in their body language, arms tucked inward, a gesture of submission among their kind. Kane laid out the terms. Immediate withdrawal. Xelari forces would vacate all human-controlled systems and protectorates. Technology exchange. Humanity would permit the Xelaris to retain limited vortex engine capabilities under strict oversight in exchange for access to their genetic and cybernetic research. Reparations. The Dominion would compensate liberated species for centuries of exploitation, with humanity acting as the intermediary. Galactic Treaty. A new accord would recognize humanity's sovereignty and establish a multi-species assembly to prevent future aggression. Drazix Krell, stripped of his title and command, snarled, "You ask us to kneel and pretend it's peace." Kane didn't blink. "I'm giving you a chance to survive. Your dominion has crumbled. Without these terms, you'll be reduced to scavengers." The Xelaris had no choice. They signed. But peace was never simple. Weeks later, Olivia stood on the Zenith observation deck, watching the Hyperion Gate from afar. The Kraith Axis had demanded a joint task force to oversee the quantum rifts, their veiled threat clear. Kane had agreed, but only after deploying hidden quantum relays to ensure human control remained absolute. "Do you think they'll honor the treaty?" Michael Garcia asked, joining her. Olivia sipped her coffee, the bitter taste grounding her. "The Xelaris? No, but they're too fractured to act. The Kraith? They'll test us. Everyone will." Michael nodded. "So what now?" "Now we play the long game," Olivia said. "We built this century of deception to win a war. Now we have to win the peace, or lose everything in the next conflict." The Zenith's comms chimed. "Captain, incoming transmission from the Vorlac Cabal. They're demanding a meeting at the Hyperion Quantum Rift." Olivia smirked. "Let them come. Please inform them that we will be present, with the full support of the Ghost Fleet." As the Zenith warped toward the Hyperion Gate, Olivia felt the weight of history pressing on her. The Resonance Gambit had won the battle, but the war for the galaxy's future had just begun. And humanity was ready. Epilogue. The Quantum Doctrine. The galaxy whispered a new name, Homo sapiens. Not as conquerors, but as architects of a new order. The quantum rifts, once symbols of Xelari dominance, now bore humanity's quantum fingerprints. The Kraith Axis, the Vorlac Cabal, and the Xenon clans all watched the humans with a mix of awe and dread. Admiral Kane's words echoed in the halls of the Terran Assembly. "We didn't just beat the Xelaris. We rewrote the rules of power. The next century won't be about who has the biggest fleet. It'll be about who understands the universe the deepest." Thus, humanity's era of secrecy concluded not with a sudden explosion, but rather with a reverberation, creating a ripple in space-time that would influence the galaxy for millennia. The stars had a new sheriff. The Stellar Union, a new dawn. The Grand Assembly Chamber on Stellar Concordia Station thrummed with a mix of anticipation and unease. 45 species, once bound by the Xelari Dominion's iron grip or isolated by mutual distrust, now faced a shared uncertainty. Dr. Maria Gomez, Earth's chief diplomat, stood at the center of the quantum-architected chamber, its walls shimmering to accommodate the delegates' alien physiologies, oxygen-rich zones, gravity fields, and even electromagnetic buffers for the most fragile attendees. Humanity's technological prowess was on full display, yet Maria's words carried no arrogance. "The Xelari Dominion's fleet remains disabled but unharmed," she reiterated, her voice modulated to resonate with every species' auditory receptors. "We've honored our promise. The Battle of the Quantum Rifts claimed no lives. Our goal was never conquest. It was to break a cycle of domination." The Drazix delegate, A being of refractive crystal vibrated with visible tension. Your cycle breaking turned off the Dominion's power like a switch. For over 400 years, we believed their crystal technology was divine. How did you achieve this? Maria's smile was measured. Through patience and partnership. We studied the quantum rifts not as weapons, but as puzzles. The Xelaris relied on crystalline harmonics. We explored quantum resonance. Their downfall wasn't a superior weapon, it was their refusal to adapt. Sithar, the Morvain Pact representative, loomed like a living shadow, their form radiating gravitational pulses. The gates remember, they intoned. The Xelaris used them as tools. You spoke their language. This is why they fell. Before Maria could respond, Zira, the Phoenix Gale ambassador, stepped forward, their iridescent feathers bristling. You speak of partnership, but you hold the keys to quantum technology that could reduce us all to vassals. How do we trust you won't become the next Xelaris? The chamber fell silent. Maria met Zira's gaze, then activated the holographic displays. Schematics of quantum field generators, a fraction of humanity's advancements, materialized in the air. By sharing what we've learned, she declared, join the Stellar Union, and we'll provide the foundation for your scientists to develop quantum applications tailored to your civilizations. No dominance, no monopolies. Balance. Gasps rippled through the delegates. The Zarnak representatives, their crystalline bodies humming in harmonic resonance, leaned closer to the displays. Our crystal tech could evolve beyond imagination. One murmured, facets glinting with excitement. Zira's feathers flattened skeptically. You expect us to believe humanity seeks nothing in return? Cooperation isn't altruism, Maria countered. It's survival. The Xelaris fell because they isolated themselves. A united galaxy is stronger than a fractured one. Share knowledge and we all advance. The fragile momentum shattered with Admiral Kane's hologram flickering into view. His face, etched with urgency, drew every eye. Dr. Gomez, we have a situation. Unknown energy signatures are approaching the Hyperion Gate. This isn't Xelari reinforcement. Maria's pulse quickened, but her voice remained steady. Define unknown. Energy patterns unlike any recorded civilization. The quantum rifts are activating in sequences we don't understand. Whatever built them, they're responding to this force. Kane's gaze swept the chamber. We have 3 days. The room erupted into chaos. The Drazics fragmented into shards of panic, reassembling only with effort. Sithar's form pulsed with ominous violet. The Sentinels, they rumbled. The oldest Morvain Pact legends speak of them, custodians of the gates. If they've returned, it is not in friendship. Zira turned sharply to Maria. And what of your balance now? This alliance is untested. Can we survive it? Maria stepped forward, her voice cutting through the din. The cooperative was never about safety. It was about readiness. The Xelaris fell because they underestimated us. We won't make the same mistake. She gestured to the quantum schematics still hovering in the air. You've seen what shared knowledge can do. Now we either become partners in truth, or face the unknown alone. One by one the delegates rose. The Zarnak's crystals chimed in unison, their leader declaring, "We stand with Earth." The Drazics followed, their refracted light forming a mosaic of agreement. Even Zira, after a tense pause, inclined their head. The Phoenix Gales will not flee. Scythar loomed last, their voice a seismic rumble. The Morvain Pacts will shield the gates. But know this, the Sentinels do not negotiate. They judge. 3 days later, the Hyperion Quantum Rift swirled with unnatural light, its runes shifting into fluid, organic patterns. The Cooperative's fleet, a mosaic of Zarnak crystal frigates, Drazics energy drones, Phoenix Gale bioorganic carriers, and humanity's quantum stealth vessels, formed a fragile line of defense. On the starbound, Admiral Kane coordinated the alliance. Quantum dampeners active, Captain Olivia Lopez reported. Phase cannons locked onto gravitational signatures. But sir, they're not slowing down. Kane stared at the approaching fleet, living constructs of bioluminescent metal, their forms shifting like liquid stars. They're not here to fight, he muttered. They're here to assess. The Sentinels' flagship, a coral-like behemoth, extended tendrils of light toward the quantum rift. The cooperative's quantum fields flared in response, resisting yet unyielding. Maria, Kane cummed, if we're going to make our case, do it now. Maria's hologram appeared before the delegates aboard the Starbound. Sithar, channel Morvain-packed harmonics into the gate's resonance. Zarnax, sync your crystals to the quantum matrix. Everyone show them we're not the Xelaris. The cooperative's technology merged in a symphony of light and energy. The quantum rift, once a tool of subjugation, pulsed with unity. The Sentinels halted. A message echoed across every system. Balance is acknowledged. The cycle is broken. Then, as swiftly as they'd arrived, the Sentinels vanished. The quantum rift dimmed to inert silence. Epilogue: The weight of balance. Back on Stellar Concordia Station, the delegates stood in stunned silence. Zira broke it first, their feathers fanning in a gesture of reluctant respect. You truly meant it. Partnership over power. Maria exhaled. The Sentinels saw what we built. Now we prove we can sustain it. As the assembly resumed, not as subjects of a dominion, but as architects of a fragile, radiant future, Kane's voice crackled over comms. They'll be watching, and next time, we better be ready to answer harder questions. Maria glanced at the quantum schematics, now a living document of shared progress. The galaxy's new dawn had arrived, not without shadows, but with the promise of light. The engineer's legacy. The Hyperion Quantum Rift blazed with iridescent light, its runes shifting like liquid stars. The Stellar Union's fleet, thousands of ships spanning 44 species, hovered in tense formation. Humanity's quantum vessels formed the core, flanked by Zarnak crystal frigates, Drazix energy drones, and Phoenix-scale bioorganic carriers. Unity had replaced centuries of division, but now a new mystery loomed. Admiral Apollo Kane stood on the Starbound's bridge, his gaze fixed on the quantum display. Data streams spiraled into fractal patterns no algorithm could predict. Beside him, Dr. Maria Gomez adjusted her neural interface, while Morvain-packed Valora, her ethereal form pulsing faintly, studied the gate's ancient glyphs. The gate's quantum signature is evolving, Valora intoned, her voice a seismic hum. These patterns, they're not recorded in any Morvain-packed memory. This is new. Maria frowned. If the Sentinels were judges, then this is something else. Before Kane could reply, Lieutenant Wilson's voice crackled over comms. Energy spike. Something's coming through. The quantum rift erupted in a cascade of impossible geometries, a shimmering rift where physics unraveled. From it emerged a vessel that defied comprehension. It existed in multiple states, crystalline yet fluid, solid yet translucent, a mixture of shifting dimensions. Its scale dwarfed the Cooperative's largest cruisers, its surface alive with technology that made humanity's quantum advances seem primitive. By all that exists, Valora whispered, her form dimming to near black. The engineers themselves. The voice of the cosmos. Hailed on all channels, communications reported. The signal bypassed conventional systems, resonating directly in the minds of every being aboard the Starbound. Kane exchanged a glance with Maria. Open all channels. The bridge's quantum display ignited with an image, entities of pure energy, their forms abstract yet eerily familiar, echoing the basic anatomical patterns shared by all known species. Children of the galaxy, the being spoke, its voice harmonizing in every language simultaneously. We are the engineers. We have watched and waited, and now you have surprised us. Maria stepped forward, her diplomatic training steadying her voice. We are honored by your presence. I am Dr. Maria Gomez of Earth, and we know who you are." The engineer's form rippled. "We know all of you. We built the quantum rifts as a test, scattered them across the galaxy, and waited to see who would truly understand them." "A test?" Kane asked, his tone guarded. "Many species discovered the gates. Some mastered crystal technology, others found different paths. But you, humanity." The being's light intensified. "You did something unexpected. You learned, you hid, you prepared, and then you shared." The quantum display shifted, replaying pivotal moments. The starbound stealth fleet materializing around the Xelaris, the cooperative's formation, and Mariah's speech offering quantum tech to all. "The Xelari Dominion hoarded power," the engineers continued. "Others sought only to serve or survive. But you understood the true purpose of advancement, to lift all who would rise with you." A surge of data flooded the cooperative's network, a flood of schematics, equations, and blueprints. Maria's eyes widened as she parsed the information. This is the full architecture of the quantum rifts, and quantum principles beyond anything we've theorized. "It is yours now," the engineers declared, its form encompassing the entire fleet. "The galaxy enters a new age. Use it wisely." The choice of equals. Morvain-packed Velora drifted forward, her gravitational pulses trembling. "And will you stay?" The engineer's light softened. "Our time has passed. We guard the spaces between galaxies, ensuring tests like this continue. But here, now in this galaxy, the future belongs to those who choose to face it together." A pause heavy with the weight of eons. "Remember this moment, children of the galaxy. Remember that it was not conquest or submission that brought you here, but the choice to stand as equals." The vessel pulsed, its form dissolving into quantum probability. The quantum rift dimmed to inert silence. Epilogue: The Dawn of Unity. Back on the starbound, Kane stared at the fleet's jubilant transmissions. The Zarnax crystals chimed in harmonic celebration. The Drazics refracted light into dazzling displays. Phoenix Gales broadcast neural pulses of collective awe. Humanity's quantum communicators buzzed with translations of the engineers' data, blueprints for interstellar infrastructure, energy systems that tapped dark matter, and quantum algorithms that could revolutionize medicine, travel, and communication. "Send word to all cooperative worlds," Kane ordered, his voice steady. "The quantum rifts are just the beginning. Together, we have a galaxy to explore." Maria joined him, her gaze on the stars. The Xelaris fell because they saw the gates as weapons. The engineers. She gestured to the data streams. "This is their legacy. A galaxy united not by fear, but by choice." As the cooperative fleet dispersed, some to study the engineers' gifts, others to defend the fragile peace, Kane allowed himself a rare smile. The engineers had judged them, and they had passed. In the decades to come, the cooperative would face new challenges: rogue AI, resource disputes, and the inevitable fractures of ambition. But the lesson of the engineers would endure, a testament to what the galaxy could achieve when it chose partnership over power. The stars, once battlegrounds of dominions, now glimmered with possibility. The dawn had come, and it belonged to all.